Всем привет, дорогие друзья! С вами канал Next. Сегодня мы возьмем коротенькое интервью вице-президента киберспортивной организации Gamin Gladiators. Киберспортивная организация относительно молодая. Будем разговаривать о самой организации, о мажоре в Лиме, о Дyrachyo, чуть-чуть об СНГ регионе. Обязательно досмотрите видео до конца. Интервью будет на английском языке с субтитрами. Мой английский не так хорош, поэтому заранее извиняюсь. What is your name?
Alex. Alex Cocovillo. Yes.
Glad to see you.
Yes, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
Thank you. I apologize in advance. My English is not so good, but I understand level intermediate maybe. So if I don't understand you, I repeat the questions. Okay?
Yes.
Thank you very much. So we have a little information about you on the internet. Can you tell me a couple of words about yourself, please?
Yeah, sure. So I'm one of the owners of Gamin Gladiators. I used to be a pro player in different types of MOBA games similar to Dota 2. I played Dota 2 for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
Since Dota 1 I've been playing, so I've been a big fan of Dota. But yeah, that's basically the TLDR. We used to be a company called Oceanus Gaming that was in North America predominantly, and then we got acquired by a company called Gamin, which created Gamin Gladiators, and that's when we went and picked up Team Tickles. So that's kind of the quick scope of who I am and things that I've done, but have a lot of experience in the esports world. Been involved since I was around 15, 16 years old, playing, semi-professionally, I used to play Halo, Gears of War, games on the Xbox and PlayStation, things like that. So I've always been involved. I've even commentated and coached for a little bit as well. So
how did you get into esport? How do you go to the tech Gamin Gladiators? Becomes in Dota 2?
Yeah, so I got into esports. I personally got into esports when I was around 15, 16, and that's because I had strict parents, so they didn't really let me go out and party or go out with friends. So I just played video games all the time, and that's kind of where I found my love for esports. And I was a very competitive person. I grew up playing soccer my whole life. And then how we became Gamin Gladiators is kind of similar to what I said before. We used to be called Oceanus Gaming, which we had a CSGO team and things like that in North America. And then in 2022, January, we got acquired by a company called Gamin. So the same thing at the beginning, Gamin.gg. They acquired us, so they bought our company out, and we created Gamin Gladiators. So that's kind of how we created the tag. We thought it was cool and unique because, gladiators always fight in an arena. So they always entertain people, and it's always a fight. So whatever game you're playing, whether it's Dota 2, Counter-Strike, you're always entertaining the fans, and you're always usually fighting in an arena or, killing each other, for example.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. What functional responsibilities you have in your organization? So it is hard working from your organization, or it is just chill, maybe? Working.
I find it chill, but it's like a lot of work. You don't stop. You're like working 24/7, so you're always working. But I love esports, so it's like fun to me, like getting to watch the games and stuff like that. My functional responsibilities kind of. We do a little bit of everything. I help manage the teams. We help overlook all the social media campaigns, our marketing strategies, what type of content we're going to be producing, contract discussions, scouting players, teams, potential teams. So honestly, it's a bit of everything right now. We're still a small company, so a lot of the owners, which there's 3 of us, there's 4 of us. The job is more like, I guess, from home, and like we do a bit of everything, everybody. So there's 4 of us that work together on everything. So we do everything from managing contracts, scouting,
SEO,
marketing campaigns, talking to sponsorships, building decks. So basically we do everything. Some days are a bit easier than others. Like for example, during Christmas break, there's nothing to do really. You know, everyone's working, or sorry, everyone's on Christmas break. No one's working, so you can't really do much. You know, players are on break. So some days are easy, but then some days are very, very like you got to get shit done today. So
Okay, okay, I see. How did the cyber sport roster for Dota 2 get formed in general?
Yeah, so our Dota 2 roster used to be called Team Tickles. Last year it was
Team
a roster
Tickles?
with Boom. Yeah. So that's how they were formed. We reached out to them after their impressive performance in the first season. I mean, I've watched Dota 2 for a long time, and a lot of the names that were on that team I didn't really know other than Ace. So I thought it was like a new upcoming team, and I was like, these guys have a lot of potential. Like, you don't really see this happen in Europe. So we kind of decided to take a risk. We had some internal talks with them. We liked their motivation. We liked how much they practice and what their schedule was like. So we just kind of took a chance on them, and they obviously performed really well. So
Are you happy with the results of the last TI 11?
yeah, I would say we were decently happy. Like, it wasn't a bad result, but we think we could have done better. Not
Yeah?
just, yeah, it was so. Like, I think for us as a company, it was good as Gaming Gladiators, but I think the players think they could have done better, and I think they could have done better as well. I think it was their first big TI as well, so they had to kind of figure it out, and a lot of stress, high stress situations and stuff like that. But it's so, all in all, I think it was pretty good. I wouldn't say I expected better, but you know, doing better is always best. You know what I mean? We could have won, but anyone could have won. So
what do you think about organization of TI 11? Because a lot of team have actually other problems with organizations in TI 11. What do you think about that?
My experience was that it was pretty good. I think the one big thing that a lot of people didn't like was the first venue that they played the games in. Like, the stadium was very small and didn't really feel like that big atmosphere, similar to like the finals. They usually have it in the same area. But other than that, the organization was good, the food was good, the hotel was good. It was just long. It was very long, like almost 4 weeks of, you know, staying at the same place, eating the same restaurant.
What about food? What about food?
The food was pretty good. Like, the good news was it was at a buffet. Like, the buffet they had at the hotel, and there was 2 different ones. So you could change it up a bit, but you know, over time, eating buffet every day, you know, you gain some pounds, so it's a bit rough.
It's a point. Before the new season, you mid-player Boom moved to the Team Sicrет, and you took a Quinn instead. Why did you choose him?
So after TI, we had a talk with the team, and we decided that it was best if us and Boom parted ways. So after that kind of happened, there was multiple reasons for that between the players, I guess, and we were just hoping that it'd work out for both parties, and we decided on Quinn because we wanted someone that does really well mid lane, that's a lane dominant mid laner. Just the style of play that we want to play is very aggressive and kind of win all lanes. And I think he really fit our profile and really gets along with our team, and he's a very smart guy. And I think NA's been holding him back a little bit.
Aggressive player like OG 19, 18, like in PSG LGD, no?
yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Okay, I have one question about Boom. Do you follow him? That in Team Sicrет now Team Sicret have a lot of problem for this gaming. Do you follow him about
I do
his
follow
success?
him. I think I think Team Secret's struggling, but I also think Nisha, who left Team Secret, was one of the best players in the world.
Yeah,
so I think that
top
really
3.
big shoes to
Top
fill.
3, I think.
Yeah, so I think that's big shoes to fill, and Boom is still kind of new. I think he can fill those, but it's going to take some time. I think that's kind of where that is, where Nisha had a few years to kind of get into the role where he is now, where he's very big. I mean, it took Nisha a little bit too, right? So I don't think it was I think it was a good move for Boom because it's gonna help him grow. Puppy, has a lot of experience, but yeah, I think replacing Nisha is just a tough task. That guy's a fucking beast.
I agree with you. What other options did you consider? Maybe was Toronto Tokyo on the list? Can you answer for these questions?
Yeah, I can try. I can try to answer a bit of it. I can tell you we talked to a few people.
Okay.
Quinn was definitely in our top choice, though. Was one of our top choices. So when he kind of confirmed with us, we kind of stopped looking. But there was a few other options that we had out on the table. I'll tell you that, from both the CIS region and NA as well.
Okay.
So there was also a couple of SEA, but we never really got into crazy talks with them. But as soon as Quinn kind of gave us the green light, we were kind of sold on it, just because language barrier, his understanding of the game, things like that.
Yes. Really microsecond, and I think I agree with you. About Quinn. How did the team change with the Quinn's arrival? Did he adapt quickly or not?
Yeah, I think he gets along really well with the team. I know they're always laughing and making jokes. He has a very easy personality, and I think what the team likes is no one is very stubborn on their ideas. They all get along really well and discuss Dota in a way that they all think is best for them. So I think they adapted quickly. I mean, they beat Team Spirit in the Bet Boom tournament with only 1 week or 2 weeks of practice, and we're doing pretty well this season. I think there's still a lot for them to learn as a team, but to start so far, I think it's been going pretty well, and I think they're all happy with each other.
So, questions, not a negative. I must be objective, if you know what I mean. Currently, you going well during the playing season. Still something is missing. Can we see the best version of your group in a major?
Yeah, I think there's a little bit missing. I mean, I'm not a Dota expert. I would say we're probably at a 6.5, 7.
Okay,
I think the team has a lot to improve on, and they know it. I think there's a lot of things we've tried out as well, and we're trying to be very experimentative right now, which is good to see. But I do think there's a lot more to come, because adding a new mid laner is always, a bit of a bigger task. He plays a big role in the team, so it's going to take a little bit for them to kind of gel really well, and playing in Western Europe will help them do that. So yeah, I think we'll see a better version of them for sure. We still haven't qualified for the major. We have a chance to do it today, so that would be really happy. I'll be really happy if that happens, of course. But I have full faith in them. They're honestly all very hardworking guys and put in a lot of time and effort. So I just want to see them have success, just because I know how much time and work they put in.
Thanks for answering. Who do you think is currently the top one in Europe? Who will pick up the upcoming major? Maybe you can see that.
Ooh.
It's a difficult question, I know.
Yeah, but... I mean, top one in Europe, I have to say us, but no.
Now.
Yeah, I think
just a reality.
Yeah, I think Team Liquid looks fucking good. I think the pickup of Nisha, as much as Matumba Man is a legend, I think picking him up really added a lot of value to their team. And I just think they look stronger than ever. I also do think EG's team is good in South America. And then obviously there's Aster and China that I think is 5-0 or 6-0 and dominating China. So I could see one of those three teams possibly doing really well, and Tundra as well. You can never count Tundra out. Skeeter's a fucking beast. So
Nisha is a fucking beautiful in the gaming. He is the best option for Liquid, I think.
Yeah. Well, there was a lot of like rumors of like Thompson going to Liquid and things like that. I never pictured Nisha, just because from my understanding he was going to stay, but I guess they kind of somehow convinced him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I think everyone was kind of surprised by it when it was kind of being announced or being speculated, because that was honestly a really good pickup. I think he deserves it too, though. Nisha, he's been, doing a lot of work for Secret over the last couple of years and has been with them for a long time. So I think it was a good change for him.
Well, do you think the Star Enigma has any chance of returning to the top tier with this lineup? Do you think
the Enigma Galaxy?
Yeah, Enigma Galaxy. I think they have a lot of problem. A lot of problem.
I feel like they're playing right now, but I think their team, like player wise, is good. I just think that I don't know if their personalities mesh, from what I understand. Like there's a lot of like maybe stubborn or toxic people. I don't know what's going on with Nigma. I love Sumail just because I used to be an NA player and I used to love looking up to Sumail. GH was, a god. Mind Control was a god back in the day. Yeah, they're legends. So like I want them to do well. Kuroki as well is a fucking legend. So like I'd like them to do well, but at the same time, who know? I don't know what's going on their inner circle.
Maybe Miracle turn back and
maybe. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I think right now, they're gonna get better over time because they just added ATF, who I think is a strong player. It's just gonna take them some time to get back to like where they were supposed to.
Okay. About Lima. The political situation in Lima is very complicated right now, with all sorts of protests going on. Are you afraid to go there? Is there any threat to major?
I'm personally not afraid. I've heard about it. I heard that it's more on the outskirts in Peru. Like it's not in Lima. It's like more in like the north and like far away from Lima. That like people are still, a lot of tourists are going there. They're not really having issues. I'm also from South America, so like I'm from Uruguay.
A little afraid, no? A little.
Me personally, not really. No, I mean like I've seen it. I don't know how. I haven't done enough research to see how bad it was, to be honest, or how bad the protests or anything is, so I can't give like a good answer. But from my knowledge, I heard it's not in Lima, and a lot of people are still traveling there, and there hasn't been any issues for tourists. But I could be wrong, man. I don't know. I haven't done enough research to give you a right or wrong answer. I'm not personally, I'm actually excited to go. I've never been to Peru, so that'd be cool. And I speak fluent Spanish, so I can actually get around. Yeah.
It's good. It's very good. How are you preparing for the upcoming gamings about major?
Yeah, the upcoming games, we're currently at boot camp right now. So the team's boot camping. For the major, if we qualify, I don't know if the team will boot camp again. They don't like to be too far away from home, so I think how we'd prepare is kind of maybe playing a couple of third-party tournaments that are before the major and kind of get us prepared doing that. So yeah, same thing, practicing, scrimming, a lot of theory crafting, trying things out, doing stuff like that.
About any training, if your team training for computers, Dota playing, maybe they training with physically, maybe they train maybe grow food, maybe.
A couple of them work out. I know like Celery likes to do a little bit of working out, more like jogging or walking.
Have you chef?
Have I what? Oh no, we don't have chef. Sadly, no chef. No chef for Celery. But,
maybe in future.
Yeah, maybe in the future. Okay. But we do like a couple of guys work out. They try to go out for dinner all the time together. They try to always eat together, spend as much time together. they play football sometimes together, or soccer, whatever one you want to call it. So they do a bit of everything. But yeah, we try to do as much of other things that aren't Dota related. But I know these guys are very, very passionate and want to do Dota as much as possible because they feel like they have something to prove and they want to prove it. So,
do you have a team building in addition to training?
Yeah, they do like a few things. Like I was telling you, they play football together. They always try to eat like dinner and lunch together. They'll go swimming together. They'll go for walks.
Table games. Do you know what it is? Table games.
Board games. Yeah, board games. Yeah, they definitely do. They'll play like ping pong and some board games, but to be honest, I think majority of them just
Mafia
together. One of their big team building exercises actually.
It's a psychology games.
They play a lot of Counter-Strike together actually. Yeah, so that's one of their team building things they like to do. Yeah.
Do you work with a psychologist? No.
Yes. Sometimes, like it's not full time, but whenever we see it needs to be, we worked with one. Right now, the team doesn't feel like they need one. They think there's more things to go over.
It's successful or not?
I think it's successful used in the right way. I feel like there's so much a psychologist can do, and then there's also so much that comes from the person themselves.
To grow your personality, or not?
Yeah, to grow your personality, your understanding, maybe doing the right things to allow you to win, stuff like that. Like I know the psychologist we had helped them a lot for TI, because we had a psychologist for the international for the guys. But going forward, we've asked the guys, and a couple of them were kind of hesitant on doing it again because it does take a bit of time, and it's a lot of like discussion and things like that. So I've seen it works for some people. Some people are a little shy and don't like to express as much, so it's a bit more difficult. But I think it can work. We've seen it work, so
it's good. One of the player in your team is very popular with a Russian-speaking audience. It is, of course, Dyrachyo. Do you communicate well with him?
Oh yeah, me and Dyrachyo are good friends. He'll tell you if you ever interview him. Ask him.
Dyrachyo is a very good, funny man. And,
he's fucking awesome. Yeah, we love him. We get along really well too. Like me and him always kind of have a little bit of banter where we kind of like talk shit to each other a little bit as a joke because we're friends. But me and him get along really well. I love the kid. He's a good kid and he works really hard. But
he's very popular in Russia. When he's streaming in Twitch, they look a lot of people, and it is one of the star of your team.
Oh yeah, I know that. I've seen his streams get up to like 8,000 people, and I'm like, holy shit. So it's pretty cool. He deserves it. He's a good player, good personality, funny as hell.
Super
aggressive player, fun to watch. You know what I mean? So.
Do you follow the CIS Pro Dota?
Yes, I do. I do. Yeah, I don't watch every game, but I'll always check like updates and see who won, who's doing well, who's on the teams and stuff like that. One of my favorite players growing up was actually Soneko. Yeah, when I was like Soneko back in the day. Yeah, because I used to play support, and
it's cool.
I love the CIS region for Dota. Like, there's a lot of players out of that area, like out of that scene, that I really enjoyed watching. Like my whole life playing Dota. Like even Ramses is a beast. Roger. Like there's so many guys that were so good from that area that I enjoy watching it.
Surely you know our stars, Bad Boom team. Do you think they can find a balance between each other and maybe not burn out from each other? What do you think about that? They maybe have a problem.
I think they're fucking good. I mean, their players are. I thought their biggest issue was if Toronto, Tokyo wouldn't be able to play like support well.
Yeah, it's
but it looks like it's working really well, and GPK and Pure are probably like the two best players in their position from the CIS region, to be honest.
What about Nightfall? What about Nightfall?
I haven't watched much of him. I know he played for EG last season, but I'd say like I know Pure and GPK being absolute fucking beasts because we've played against them a lot and they've beat us a few times when they were on VP and Entity before. So I know they're both really good. Toronto Tokyo, I thought their one issue would be if Toronto Tokyo couldn't adapt to the
Alex, he is a fucking hard player. Nightfall is a fucking hard player with the safe. Fourth and third position in a bad boom. It is it's hard. I think you must see that line, the hard line.
Who's their position 4 player again? But boom.
Save.
That's right. Yes.
1 year he not play in a pro Dota, but Safe is fucking good.
Yeah, I mean I think the team has crazy potential. I just want to see. I always feel like teams, you always see how good a team is when they start doing bad, and then how they adapt after they start losing. I think that's when you really see how good a team is. So I think right now they're kind of on this upwards trend, but if they start losing, how do they adapt? Do they start tilting at each other? You know what I mean? So I think that's where you're gonna really see if they can make something. But on paper, they look fucking good. So
a couple of questions. Legendary player Dandy bought a slot in North America, but is ranked in the relegation zone. Do you think has he any chance of staying at first division or not?
I hope so, but I don't know. That's a rough one. I mean, I fucking love Dandy. Like, Dandy's a legend, but
I love Dandy because I'm his fan, but I think maybe a second position is not for him. It's just a bit objectively.
I can agree. I mean, I've watched a few of their games. He hasn't looked too bad, but I don't think their team is that strong. Like their whole team in general. I don't know. I don't really know, but yeah, I don't know if they will. They'll probably they could make it just out of relegation zone and stay. I think it's gonna be really important that they do, because if you're buying a spot in NA and you get relegated right after, that's kind of rough. But I wish him nothing but the best. But I don't know.
Thank you, Alex. Alex, some like questions, and the last question: do you play Dota regularly? And what is your rank? And what heroes do you enjoy playing?
Yeah, I do play Dota. I played quite a bit. Well, not as much anymore, but I have played Dota a lot. My rank right now is around 5.4k. But
it's
my
okay.
highest,
it's okay.
it's okay. My highest rank a few years back, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, was about 6.3k. Was my highest ever. But I'm not as good as I used to be. I suck now. I only get to play a little bit.
What's your position?
Position 4, buddy. I love position 4.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's my favorite. So heroes like, I fucking love Mirana. I love Tusk, Earth Spirit, Wind Ranger. I used to play a lot of. Tiny is fun. Yeah, I'm just a big 4 position guy.
Tiny airlines maybe no? Do you know
Tiny
what?
Airlines, oh yeah. Of course, yeah, I know that. Yeah, those are like my favorite heroes. I'd say like Mirana, I think, is my most played.
Mm-hmm.
Mirana, Rubik are my most played, and then Tiny.
I like Rubik. Rubik is very good.
Oh yeah.
Very good hero. So thank you for coming this short interview. Good luck in the upcoming games and in the major. Good luck. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.